Hi everybody, this is Christine from Hanemühle and Rana from Hanemühle.
Hello.
And we are so glad to welcome you today again to one of our talks, this time about more or less traditional fine art applications again. This is why we have Rana here again. Rana is responsible for the product management for traditional fine art products, and I'm so amazed that we have some very lovely, wonderful paper today to talk about. Plus, we will welcome two special artists, Sarah from the US and Tanja from Munich, better known as Frau Hölle. But these ladies will join us later, and we'll talk a little bit about the topic brush lettering, hand lettering, and a little bit of watercolor as well. And we are very, very happy to have again some special goodies for you guys later this live chat. So stay tuned, you might really want to win this. So, but talking about brush lettering and hand lettering.
Yes.
So I know that this is a huge trend, and this trend is all over the world for many, many years actually.
Yes, it is. I remember it was about 4 or 5 years ago when hand lettering, when we observed that hand lettering is getting stronger and stronger, and more people were asking us which of our artist papers are suitable for this special technique. And although we were able to recommend some of our artist papers, it was that point when we decided to create, develop and launch the perfect hand lettering paper.
So what does a perfect hand lettering paper makes it perfect? So what
the features?
The features?
Yeah.
What is it?
Yeah. First of all, the important part for hand lettering, where you use brush pens and fine liners and things like that, it is extremely important that the surface of the paper is extremely smooth, and that water-based pens, that they do not bleed and that they do not bleed through and so on. But the smoothness is very important, so that the tip of the brush pens, that they do not get harmed or frayed. So I would like to show the paper. Maybe we can see it, how smooth that paper is. It's a very smooth, bright white paper. And because of the whiteness, which is bright white, it is also that the colors that you apply on that, they are very vibrant. It's very colorful. Everything is very visible on that bright white paper.
And it's extremely smooth.
It is, yes.
And what kind of brushes or pens can you really use for this application? You were mentioning brush pens.
Brush pens. Water-based brush pens, any kind. You can use fine liners. You can use colored pencils as well. You can use pencils in general. I mean, everything where that smooth surface is perfect for. And brush pens, when we developed that paper, we really put the focus that brush pens and fine liners are suitable and that they do not bleed, and that the tip of these pens are really protected and they don't get harmed.
And as the color is really bright white, the colors pop out fantastically.
Yes, that's exactly. Very vibrant colors on it and very fresh colors. So yeah, so that's why we have chosen the bright white paper for that.
But we don't only have this hand lettering pad with the most suitable paper for this kind of applications. I know that some artists use regular brushes and watercolor as well. So if you just recommend paper in general, which one would be most suitable for brush lettering, hand lettering?
Yeah, for hand lettering it would be the hand lettering pad. But for brush lettering, as the name already says it, you are using brushes and mostly watercolor. And as we have a huge range of watercolor papers, and especially the papers with the hot press surfaces. These are very suitable for brush lettering because there you see the very detailed letters, and you can apply the brush very correctly on that smooth surface. Again, it's a smooth surface. Of course, you can try to use a cold press or rough. Yeah, I would recommend hot press, and I think that most of the brush lettering artists are using hot press papers. But if you want to have a different effect or something, of course you can also try to use the cold press papers, for example. But mostly it's hot pressed, again, because it's smooth and so on.
Okay, so talking about hand lettering in general, there are, how do you, I mean, I understand how you got inspired to just start research and development for this kind of paper. How do you think now the paper is perfect? This is the perfect that everyone just loves and will work with.
Well, Hanemüde has a huge experience in paper making. We are producing paper for more than 436 years. But when it comes to the application of the paper, when we want to learn how the paints react on the paper, we always prefer to involve artists, which means when we are in the development stage where we think that we have developed, in our eyes, the perfect paper, we send out papers to our beta testers. We have a very close relationship to artists all around the world, and then we get their feedback back. And we really prefer to put that feedback and input into that final development and for optimization of the paper. So it's always very nice to get that feedback, of course.
So again, a huge shout out to all the artists who just give us feedback and drop so many ideas and insights of how to use our paper, and especially what makes it even better. So thank you again. It is always a pleasure working with you guys.
Yes.
Yes, but I can only see, I see hand lettering, but I see Bristol as well.
Yeah,
Why
exactly.
you brought Bristol?
Bristol was actually Bristol. When artists asked us, hand lettering artists, which one of our papers are suitable for hand lettering, this was one of the paper that we also recommended. It has 250 GSM, whereas the hand lettering pad paper is a bit thinner with 170 GSM. So you can use the Bristol paper as well, but mostly for hand lettering, it's also very nice to have a bit a thinner paper. So that's why the difference in it is the grammage of the paper. It's also very smooth. You can use it very good for brush lettering as well, and hand lettering.
Okay, so to summarize, bright white for
Yes.
stunning, vibrant colors.
Yes.
Extremely smooth.
Surface, exactly, to
And-
protect the tips.
And a little bit more thicker. And
This is thicker, this is thinner.
full bodied a little bit so that it doesn't
Yeah.
improve.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's
A little introduction.
yeah. So as I already said, we are about to introduce and welcome two lovely artists today. The first one I like to introduce, and I'm so happy that she will join us directly from the US, and it's extremely early in the morning
it
there,
is.
so thank you, Sarah. So we are happy to meet now the artist Sarah from Sarah Style Designs. You can see her account over there, plus some paintings. She started with brush lettering and enjoys trying so many different techniques, which you can see on her account as well. She is always coming up with new ideas and ways to utilize her art supplies, and it's really stunning. In case you don't follow her account at the moment, make sure to just visit it and like and comment. It's a stunning artwork she does. So let's see what creative techniques she will share with us today. And I'm so happy that she makes it, and I hope that she is here. Yeah, it's really early in the US.
Hi.
Hi, Sarah.
Hello.
We need to switch the screen now in order to see you.
Oh, okay. Can you see me now?
Yes. Hi, Sarah. How are you?
I'm good. How are you guys?
Good. It's
Fine,
not
thanks.
as early as with you at the moment. So how early is it?
It's 8 o'clock in the morning.
Oh my God. So you need a coffee now.
Yes.
So thank you so much for joining today. It's just such an honor, and we are so happy that you are. Just introduce yourself a little bit. What made you just learn watercolor, be an expert in hand lettering and brush lettering, and especially maybe to have a sneak peek what you are doing at the moment.
Yes. So my name is Sarah, and I'm from Sarah's Style Design. I've been an artist for about 3 years, and I started when my daughter was born. I needed something for myself, and that's what I found. I found artists doing hand lettering, and I thought that it was fascinating. And I think one big thing I want people to know is that it doesn't start out perfect. It takes a lot of practice. And so over the time of trial and error, you can learn. If you practice, you can definitely get better. It just takes practice. And so today I want to share with you 3 of my favorite papers that I use consistently. Do you want me to start now and do the demo, or?
Yes, sure. I'm already really curious what you will you will do now.
Okay, hold on. I'm gonna go to my desk.
A sneak peek to the workplace.
It's always also a very creative place.
It's not very clean, I will say that. I apologize. I'm getting a lot of feedback for some reason. Okay, so this is one of my favorite is the expressions pad, and I will say that I do use my brush markers on this. It has a different kind of a texture. It's not quite as rough as other papers that I have used in the past. And one thing that I like about it is that I can make a background such as this, and then I can letter over it, and it's thick enough to be able to withstand all that water. And so what I actually want to show you guys is how to use your brush pens as watercolor. So what I do is I just take a plate. Can you guys hear me okay? I'm getting like
Yes, absolutely.
We're just
Okay.
curious to see what you're doing.
Okay, I just want to make sure. So I'm going to just use 2 colors, and you can use a dark color and a light color. And then I just use some washi tape to tape off an area, and the paper works great with washi tape because it does resist and it doesn't bleed through. So as you can see, like in this one right here, it's a perfect crisp line.
The usage of washi tape is getting more and more popular, isn't it?
Yes, because you can see that it leaves just a perfect border.
Yeah.
So from here, I just use a brush and wet the area. Let me move it up to make sure you guys can see. And then you can use a smaller paintbrush and then dip it in the water and then just dip it in the color, and then you have a watercolor. And so you can just create different borders and backgrounds. And I love it because you can do this while you're traveling because you don't have to carry your paints around. So I'm not really going for any certain kind of pattern. I'm just going for
So you are using the color of the brush pens to wetten, and first you wetten the paper and then you use the brush to bring the color on it.
Correct. Yes,
Okay.
that's exactly what I'm doing.
And then you make the second layer by doing hand lettering or brush lettering on that area, right?
Yes. So then after this, you know, this kind of looks like waves, but you can do whatever kind of look that you want. You can do whatever colors. So the important thing is to let this dry. And I'm going to letter over this, but we gotta let it dry first. So another paper that I love is what you guys were talking about earlier, the collection hot press paper.
Yeah.
And I love it because, like you talked about, it's extra smooth. So you can feel comfortable that you are not going to damage your brush pens. And as you can see, it blends really well. So I created a blend here.
So you use two colors in one word.
Yes. So I'll show you actually the process. I just use a light gray pen. I'll just write hi. So this is like your base so that you know where you're writing. And then you really do want to wait till it dries, but for time's sake, I'll go ahead and just go through with it so you guys can see. I'm going to use a red and a yellow. And you just take your light color or your dark color, I'm sorry, on the top.
Okay.
And then after that, then you take your lighter color and you start pulling from that darker color so that you're pulling the dark to the light. And then you get this ombre effect. Can you guys see that?
Yes.
Okay. So the gray just acts as a baseline to give you an idea of where to start from and where you can follow along easy so you're not just running out of thin air.
It always looks so easy.
That's true.
It does, but it does take practice. And it is super important to have the right paper. If you don't have the right paper, your colors are not going to pop. And that brings me to this paper that you guys were talking about before, the hand lettering paper. Now, this one is
perfect for lettering because, like you talked about, it's so silky smooth. This is like the smoothest paper I think I've ever felt before. And I think it's important to know the purpose of why you are lettering. So if you are lettering to blending like this, then you need a thicker paper that's going to withstand multiple colors being layered on top of each other. But this, if you are just practicing writing your letters or you want to write a long quote, then this is perfect for that.
Very good. That's good to know.
For how long do you practice?
I'm sorry, what did you say? It's
So
really
when exactly did you start, and how many times did you practice the lettering until you were really satisfied with what?
So like I said, it's probably been about 3 years, and it has, sorry, I keep hearing you guys saying things twice for some reason. I don't know, so it's distracting me. So I did practice almost every day, whether it was just writing the alphabet or writing a name or writing what day of the week it was. So I did practice a lot, but the good thing about practicing is that you can see improvement. That's why I started my Instagram account, because it made me more reliable, and I had to keep doing it. And I could look back and say, wow, I did make progress. You might think you're not making progress, but if you look back at your old work, you'll definitely see progress.
Yeah, I believe that. You also get the motivation and you get feedback, and you see other artists as well, and so it's always very inspiring, I believe.
Yes, there's this community is super supportive, and it's great to get feedback from other artists, and there's tons of great artists out there, and they're not going to criticize you. They're all super positive, so that's great. Let me just show you real quick. This is not fully dry, but for the sake of this live, I will just show you. So as you can see, it leaves a perfect border. And if there's a little warping like there is right now, if you just let it dry on the block, it'll dry completely flat, but it's just still a little bit moist right now. So I'll just letter the word magic.
Can you tell again what paper are you using for?
This one is the Expressions paper.
The Expression watercolor paper.
Yes. So this actually is cold pressed watercolor paper, but like I was saying, the texture is not as rough as some of the other papers that I have used. And I have used my Karen markers on this paper for over a year, and I haven't damaged my pens yet. So
okay, you have 2 layers and it works. Although it's not completely dry, right?
it's not completely dry, so that's why you see a little bit of the warping. But just for the sake of the live, I just wanted to show you that you can have multiple layers on here, and it works perfectly fine.
Very nice. It's a 300 GSM watercolor paper. Yeah.
Yes, this is the 300 GSM.
Yeah. Very good. Looks very nice.
Thank you. So yes, those are my favorite. The Expressions, cold press, the hand lettering paper because it's so silky smooth, and then the hot press paper because it's great for blending.
Okay, fantastic.
Very nice.
Thank you very much. Let's see if there are some questions for you popping in, Sarah.
Okay.
So what paper do you use now? This was the expression. Exactly.
Let me, hold on. Let me take off my phone from here. Okay, let me see.
Are there any special just tips and tricks you would like to share if someone wants to start with hand lettering and brush lettering in general? What are the secrets to share?
I think that the most important thing is to start with maybe lettering worksheets. That's a great place to start. And just practice a little bit every day. It does make a difference if you have good paper and a decent pen. You don't want, you just start lettering on copy paper with your brush pens, you're going to damage your pens, and then brush pens aren't cheap, so you want to take care of those.
And there's another question. Are there some tips for lefties?
So I'm not a lefty, but I can tell you it's all about hand position. So if you are lettering, you want to, let me do a quick. So as you're writing, you want to position your hand above the word or below the word. You don't want to go right here because as you're writing, you're going to smear your lettering. So I'm not a lefty, so I can't exactly speak on how you should place your hand. I think it's more about finding a comfortable hand position that you're not going to smear your work.
Then there was a question, which gray pen you were using?
Oh, the gray pen I was using. This is a Faber-Castell Pitt pen. It's cold gray 230. So it's extra light. So you don't want a dark gray pen, otherwise it's gonna show through. You want a light gray pen. And this one works really well because it's pretty light. So the Pitt Artist Pen by Faber-Castell in cold gray.
Oh, we love those as well.
That is true. And there is another question as well. There's someone straight line lettering but wants to practice brush lettering. Can you give some tips?
Tips on, you said tips on brush lettering?
Yeah, from straight line lettering to brush lettering.
So the most important thing with brush lettering is to remember, always remember this, thin upstroke, thick downstroke. So anytime your brush is going in the upward position, you want a thin upstroke. Anytime your brush is going in the downward position, extra pressure for a thicker line. That's one of the main things with brush lettering that you have to remember.
Very good.
And there's one question, where to find the products in the US. When you hop on our website search the contact section, there you will find a link to a find a dealer section. There you can just pop your city code in and you will get an overview of all the dealers that carry our products. Another question.
Yeah, someone is asking, Sarah, can you publish the pens and paper you are using during the live talk?
You want me to post which ones I'm using? Is that
Yes, someone is asking, I believe they want to know which pens and papers you use so that they can look after that.
Yes. I will post that. I can post that in my stories later today. So
Very good.
be on the lookout for that.
Very fine.
I'll
Great.
post all the supplies that I use. So if anyone's interested in doing those projects, they can do that. And you don't have to use the exact same supplies. You know, you can use different pens. That's totally fine too.
Very good.
Okay. Thank you, Sarah, so much for the insights. It was such a pleasure to have you here in this live chat, and thank you so much for joining, although it is so early. So thank you very, very much. It was so lovely, and yes.
It was also very nice to see these different things.
Well,
Absolutely.
thank you guys so much for having me.
Thank you. It was lovely to see you.
Good to see
Bye,
you guys.
Sarah. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.
So it was
Also interesting for me,
Yeah.
like for the expression that she's using layers for. She's also that she can use. I mean, on the wet paint, normally you need to wait till it's dry, but she's using brush pen on watercolor more or less. So it's very interesting that 2 layers, but the paper is quite thick. It's expression monomer. It has 300 GSM. It is surface size, which means that the colors stay on the surface. They do not get absorbed immediately by the paper. So it's a very robust paper, which is fine. And it's made of 100% cotton, so it's quite good.
Yes.
It was interesting for me as well, so very nice.
So the touch and feel of it is just fantastic because of the cotton, and yeah,
It's one of my favorite.
that was quite inspiring as well.
It is, yeah.
So what I really love about what she is doing, that it's really kind of unique, and that you can do so many different techniques,
Yeah.
and it always does look different. Mixing watercolor, light washes plus letters on it, this is always really inspiring.
So many possibilities.
Yeah.
Very inspiring.
Let's start.
Yeah.
But like I said before, we have another lovely lady joining us today,
Yes.
directly from Munich, and I would love to introduce her right now. It is Frau Hölle. So this is her account name, and Tanja, she will join us the other minute. And yeah, it's another lovely and passionate artist, and yeah, she started to study becoming an engineer, worked then as a product manager and a web designer, and yeah, eventually she started being a blogger, founder as well for the Frau Hölle Studios, and is a coach as well. And now she started, or not now, longer before, long ago, she started to make her passion a profession. And we love to welcome Tanja now. So I hope she is in the chat.
Let's see.
So,
Technical problems can happen sometimes. We'll see.
so we are facing some technical issues here. So what we will do is we will end this call now, and we will upload it definitely on IGTV. So make sure to see what Sarah has drawn and lettered. And I'm still so amazed that you joined us.
Yeah.
So what we will do, we will save this chat with Sarah now on IGTV, and we'll just name it part 1. And then we start another live talk in about 3 or 4 minutes, and then hopefully we will have Tanja, Frau Hölle, in this chat as well. So thank you so much for joining us today, and see you in the next part.